Hello everybody, welcome to our class today, and today we're going to be talking about present perfect tense. In my experience, this is one of the verb tenses that students find more difficult in English, so my recommendation is pay very good attention and also take notes to what I'm talking about today. This is the first of two classes on present perfect tense. This is present perfect tense part 1. So while you're looking for your notebook and your pencil, I'm going to switch over to a different screen. Here we go. There we go. And just a second, let me get a pointer here. Pointer, arrow, here we go. So we're talking today about, let me move myself about. Today we're talking about the formation of present perfect tense. We're going to do some conjugating, and we're also going to talk about how we use since and for with present perfect tense. So here, and I just want to move my picture here so it's not in the way. So here we have a story that's in present perfect tense that I'm going to read to you. Well, at least it has some present perfect tense in it. My husband and I have never taken a holiday together. We've wanted to take a holiday for a long time, but we have never had the same holiday schedule. Next month, we both have 2 weeks off work, so we're trying to plan a vacation. I wanted to go to Hawaii, but my husband has already been there. He wants to go skiing in Vermont. He's never skied before. I don't like skiing. I've skied 3 times in my life, but I don't think I want to do that again. Okay. So let's take a look together at some of the examples of present perfect tense. And if you look at this first sentence here, let's look at this together. You can see it in action. My husband and I have never taken a holiday together. Okay, and what that sentence is saying is they're talking about their experiences all through their lives up until this point right now. They have never taken a holiday. We've wanted to take a holiday for a long time. They probably started wanting sometime in the past, maybe, who knows, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And all through that time until now, they continue to want to take a holiday, right up until this time now. But we have never had the same holiday schedule. See, once again, all that time up until now, it hasn't happened. Next month, we both have 2 weeks off work. So we're trying to plan a vacation. Now, here's present perfect tense again. Oh no, past tense, sorry. I wanted to go to Hawaii. Here it is. But my husband has already been there. Can you see that? He has already been there. At some point before now, her husband visited Hawaii. He wants to go skiing in Vermont. He's never skied before. Here it is again. He has never skied before, not at any time before this point now. I don't like skiing. I've skied 3 times in my life. Here it is again. I have skied 3 times in my life. 3 times, oops, sorry about that. Let's go back. 3 times in the period before this time right now. But I don't think I want to do that again. So there are some examples of it, okay? Let's go on to the next slide here and look at some sentences with present perfect tense in them. And I'm going to switch my pointer over a second to a pen so I can make notes here. Okay, so it says, we have wanted to take a holiday for a long time. Okay, so take a look at this sentence a second. Do you see the subject of the sentence? Okay, if you said we, you were correct. We is the subject. Okay, and look at what comes next. Have wanted. So what we have here, okay, first of all, we have the verb have, okay, but it's not doing its usual job. It's what it's doing here is it's acting as an auxiliary, and I'm trying to write a letter A there. Okay, that's the auxiliary, and after it is the word wanted, okay. Wanted is actually what we call a past participle. Okay, there we go. and is a past participle of the verb want, which is regular. So the past participle is just the regular verb with an ed there. Okay, so we have the subject, we have an auxiliary, and we have a past participle. Let's take a look at another sentence. We have never had the same holiday schedule. Once again, you can see we've got we, which is our subject, have, which is our auxiliary. Now here we have never. Don't pay too much attention to that right now. That's just an adverb of frequency. But then can you see after that comes had, and had is the past participle of which verb? Did you say have? If you did, you will be correct. And then here's the last one. I've skied 3 times in my life. What's the subject? Did you say I? Okay, and then after that, can you see there's the have? Now this time we have a contraction. The I and the have go together to make I've. Okay, and then after that we have skied. Okay, what is skied? Did you say past participle? That is the past participle of the regular verb ski. Okay, once again, it gets an ed when it's a past participle. What you're noticing now is you're going to be using all those past participles that you've been working on memorizing, and they're going to come in extremely handy in this class, believe me. Okay, so let's take a look now. I'm going to switch back to my pointer, so 1 second. Let's take a look now at a diagram of present perfect tense. And this is very similar to the diagrams that are in your book and that are on that big green chart that I gave you. Okay, notice this is the timeline going back to the past and forward to the future. And this line here is this point right now, just as usual. Now, what we have here is a sentence. We've wanted to take a vacation together. And what this is talking about is an event that started at a certain point in the past, okay? It doesn't say exactly when, but we know it's at a point in the past. And that action has continued for all the time right up to this present time right now. They started wanting in the past and they continued to want until now, okay? So what we're going to go on to next is we're going to talk about how to form present perfect tense, okay? And the first thing that we need to just review a little bit is past participles. Now, past participles, as I just said before, on a regular verb, you just add ed to the base form of the verb. So if you have a regular verb like walk, it becomes walked. If you have a dance, it becomes danced. Cook, cooked. It looks just like the past tense form of the verbs, doesn't it? Okay. And then the next thing is irregular verbs. Okay, these are the ones in column 3 on the chart that you have been learning. And so you have a verb like go, and the past participle is gone. See is seen, etc. So this is where we're going to be using those irregular ones that you've been working on. And then finally, we just need to mention that the verb to be has its own particular past participle, and that is been, okay, which we often pronounce actually just as been, okay. That's the more common pronunciation. For example, I've been here in my office all day, which I have. Okay, so let's go over the conjugation right now. And I think you're getting used to these verb tenses by this point. So this is going to probably be pretty easy for you. Now, what you have to do is you want to think about your subject. And then for the auxiliary have, what form of have normally goes with that subject? You normally say, I have, he, she, it has, we have, you have, they have. Correct? That's easy enough. And then after that, you just have your past participle. So here we've got eaten, past participle of ate, right? Cooked, past participle of cook, that's a regular verb. Been, past participle of verb to be. Written, past participle of write, and seen, past participle of see. I hope you know these because you're going to need them. All right, let's go on to some contractions. Okay, so we have the full form I have been becomes I've been. He has been, he's been. Okay, she has been, she's been. It has been, it's been. We have been, we've been. You have been, you've been. They have been, they've been. Okay, notice my pronunciation changed from the full form to the contraction. Listen again carefully. I have been, I've been. Do you notice when I'm saying the full form, I say been more carefully, but the contraction, it becomes more like a been? That's because we use the contractions more in spoken English, informal English. And a lot of times people pronounce it just as a been when they're speaking, okay? All right, so that's how that forms, okay? You see how that works? Not too hard, I think, okay? And if you need to come back later and take notes, or right now, in fact, you can just pause this video and take notes of what's on the screen, okay? Now we want to look at the negatives. And negative formation, very simple, like it is with other verb tenses. Okay, look at all that happens here is we just put a not after the auxiliary. So I have not slept, he has not slept, we have not, oh, he has not visited, pardon me, we have not driven, you have not seen, and they have not tried. Okay, so pretty simple there. Once again, if you want to take notes, just pause the video. And then we have contractions in the negative. Okay, so you get I haven't done, he hasn't brought, we haven't flown, you haven't taken, and they haven't danced. Once again, remember, these contractions we're using mainly in informal English. What do we mean by that? When we're speaking, we almost always use them. And we also use them when we're writing informally, such as in text messages to our friends or in informal emails to colleagues and friends. Okay, but if you're writing formal English, do not use contractions, including when you're writing papers and paragraphs for your teacher, by the way. Okay, let's go on to the next one. All right, next, remember, next thing we always learn, yes/no questions. All right, and here we've got the yes/no questions. Now remember how we make the yes/no questions? You always flip your subject and your auxiliary here in this case. And so instead of saying I have eaten, it flips around, it comes have I eaten? Okay, and remember that rising inflection of your voice when you say this, your voice comes up. Have I eaten? And we got the short answers as usual. And once again, they're kind of a reflection of the question. Yes, you have, or no, you haven't. Okay, has he eaten? Yes, he has. No, he hasn't. Okay, has she eaten? Yes, she has. No, she hasn't. Have we eaten? Yes, we have. No, we haven't. Have you eaten? Yes, I have. Or you can answer that with yes, we have. There are two possible and correct answers depending how many people are answering. And the answer can be no, I haven't, or no, we haven't. And then finally, have they eaten? Yes, they have. No, they haven't. Once again, I think you should probably pause the video and take some notes here. Okay? All right. And finally, we have to do the conjugation of the questions. All right, and we have some different examples here. Once again, okay, remember the subject here, the subject and the auxiliary flip their sequence. So it becomes, what have you eaten? All right, or the next one is, where has, because it's he, she, it, right? Where has he been? Where has she been? Where has it been? And then the next one, how have we done? And next one, who have you visited? And when have they played? Okay. All right. Take notes again. I'm going on to the next one. All right. Now, some things we do with this verb tense are a little interesting. The first thing is we need to talk about contractions. And we make some different contractions. We use present perfect tense a lot when we are speaking every day. And remember that when people speak, they like to speak quickly and they make a lot of contractions, okay? So what we're talking about right now is really mainly spoken English. It's not really correct English for formal writing, but this is the way that we talk. So one of the things that we do is we make these contractions with the question words. If you look at that, you've got where's he gone? Do you see what that is a contraction for? Okay, it's a contraction for where has he gone? Where's he gone? Okay, next one, what's he done? See that one there? Once again, it's a contraction for what has he done. Okay, and who's she seen? Who has she seen? Next one, how have you been? Okay, oops, I can see there's a mistake there. Do you see an error? There's no question mark on that question. Okay, we need to add one of those. Now, be careful with these. Look at the first three. You see that apostrophe S, and a lot of people think, oh, that's a contraction for where is, okay, and what is, who is. But you can see in this case, it's not. It's a contraction for where has, what has, who has, all right? So these can be a little bit confusing. All right, now, got here to remember, we only use these in spoken English, okay? But it's important for you to understand what people are saying when you hear them. You can think, oh, that's present perfect tense, and if you feel like using them too. Okay, we can also make contractions with nouns in present perfect tense. Okay, so let's look at some examples of that. John's worked a lot of overtime this week. Now look at it carefully. You see John's, the contraction there, okay, is a contraction for John has worked a lot of overtime this week. It is not a contraction for John is. You see that? It's John has worked. Okay. If there was an ing, it would be John's working. Okay, that would be a different verb tense. Next one is our dogs dug up the entire yard. Okay, notice here our dog, apostrophe S, that is the contraction for our dog has. Next one, oops, the weather's been awful lately. See, contraction for the weather has been awful lately. And remember, these are only used in spoken English. We don't use them when we're writing, okay? All right. So next thing we're going on to is we're going on to look at two words that are used with present perfect tense. And a lot of students have some confusion with these. So please pay some special attention here and take some notes. I have for you two sentences. Let's read the two sentences. I have lived in Allentown for 20 years. I have lived in Allentown since 2000. Okay, now I want you to look at those and think for a minute about the differences. What differences do you see between 20 years and 2000? Why does one have for and one have since? Okay, give you a second to think about that. Okay, now, did you notice that I have lived in Allentown for 20 years? 20 years is a duration of time. It's a period of time. It's how many years, okay? And if you look at the second one, I have lived in Allentown since 2000. Do you notice that 2000 is the name of a year? It's a particular point in time, okay? And that is the difference in how we use these two. We use for time durations, and we use since for particular points in time. Okay, let's take a look at that for a moment. Oops, wait a minute, we hit the button too much there. So let's look at 4, and I've got another one of those diagrams for you. And you can see here that, okay, it says I have worked at Amazon for 2 years. So this is the point 2 years ago when I started working there. And I have continued working there up until this point now. So this time period here is a period of 2 years, okay? So let's look at some sentences with that in. Emma has known Frank for 6 months, okay? Notice 6 months is a time period, so we use for. We have lived here for a very long time. Now, it doesn't always have to give you a specific amount of time. This just says a very long time. It's not telling you how much, but we know it's a period of time. And then we've been at the restaurant for an hour. Okay, same thing again there. Okay, so let's look at the rule, and you probably want to write this rule down. For is used for a duration of time, and it can be used for a few seconds, a few minutes, a few weeks, months, years. It could be used for millions of years, and it's even used for eternity, okay? Any amount of time you can use for. Okay, now we're going to look at since. I have been in this city since last May. Look over here. What does this X represent? Right, last May. And this one is talking about that period of time, okay, since last May, okay? But last May, as you see, as an exact point in time in the past. So we have to use since. Let's look at some examples in sentences. We have been here since 9 o'clock. We came into class at 9 o'clock and we continue to be here right until this point. I haven't visited my country since 2010. Okay, I went there, how many years ago is that? 10 years ago, but I have not visited in all that time. Okay, but it's an exact point in time. It has been cold since January. Once again, January is an exact point in time. I have lived in Allentown since I came to the United States. Now with this one, it doesn't tell you like a date or a time like the others, but it's still talking about a specific moment in time in the past. So what is our rule here? Since is used with a specific point in time, okay? Okay, so let's practice that a little bit. So I have here for you a sentence. I have taught at LTRI-C blank 15 years. I'm going to give you a moment to think about that. Is the answer for or since? What do you think? Okay, let's see the answer. If your answer was for, you are correct. I have taught at LTRI-C for 15 years. Remember, that's a duration of time, so we have to use for. Next one, they have been at the hotel blank 2 weeks. Okay, I'm going to give you a moment to think about that one. Okay, what did you think? Let's have a look at the answer. They have been at the hotel for 2 weeks. Once again, it's a duration of time, so we use for. Okay, let's go on to another one. Alice and Arturo have been married 2015. What do you think about that one? Okay, what is your answer? Did you answer since? Alice and Arturo have been married since 2015. Why does it use since? Because it's talking about a specific time in the past. Okay, here's some more. Nobody has come to see us. Blank, we bought this small house. Okay, think about that. Okay, let's look at the answer. Nobody has come to see us since we bought this small house. Okay, the action of buying the small house happened at a specific time in the past, so we need to use since. He hasn't eaten anything blank 24 hours. What do you think? Okay, did you say for? He hasn't eaten anything for 24 hours because it's a time duration. It has been very foggy blank early morning. Okay. Did you say it has been very foggy since early morning? Okay, why? Early morning is a specific point in time. Okay, just a moment. I'm going to go back to here. So that is the end of our first lesson on present perfect tense. If you go into Canvas in modules, you will find all of the other activities that you need to do to study present perfect tense. I put some online practice exercises for you. There's some work in Azar Grammar, and then you need to take your quiz, your homework quiz, like you usually do in present perfect tense. Now, if you have any questions about this, you can ask me when we get together in class next week, next Monday night. Okay? All right, good luck with this. Bye-bye.